हेलो एवरीवन एंड गुड इवनिंग। आज के इस सेशन में मैं आपको डिबेट, एलोक्यूशन और मूड कोर्ट कंपटीशन में खुद को कैसे प्रेजेंट करते हैं उसका डेमो दूंगी। बट बिफोर दैट आई वुड लाइक टू टेल यू द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द प्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ अ डिबेट, एन एलोक्यूशन एंड अ मूड कोर्ट। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, डिबेट और एलोक्यूशन की अगर हम बात करें तो डिबेट में यू ऑलवेज गिव अ पोलराइज्ड ओपिनियन. Let us say the topic is uniform civil code. So now if it is a debate, either you will be in favor of uniform civil code or you will be completely against it. So you will be giving on opinion accordingly, being in favor or being against. Jabki in elocution you are always neutral. You have to give the points which are in favor, you have to give the points which are against, and then ultimately you have to give a conclusion, a small conclusion in which you can give your own polarized opinion that whether you favor it or not. So this is the difference between debate and elocution. Now जो general pattern of representation है किसी भी debate और elocution का, वो ये होता है कि debate में you have to be dominating always. अगर आपने टीवी पर, टेलीविजन पर डिबेट्स देखी हो तो रियल लाइफ में भी, चाहे कोई सिंपल डिबेट है, चाहे लीगल डिबेट है या यूथ पार्लियामेंट है, यू हैव टू बी डोमिनेटिंग एंड यू हैव टू ओवरपावर द ओपिनियन एंड द पॉइंट्स ऑफ योर ऑपोजिट पार्टी. तो आपको अपना ओपिनियन उतना ही स्ट्रॉन्ग और एम्फेसिस के साथ रखना है. जबकि इन एलोक्यूशन यू हैव टू बी सबटल, यू हैव टू बी काम एंड यू हैव टू बी न्यूट्रल. ओके, दिस इज द जनरल पैटर्न. बाकी जजेस जो है वो अपने ओपिनियंस के अकॉर्डिंग पैटर्न प्रेफर करते हैं. सो वेन एवर यू आर गोइंग फॉर द कॉम्पिटिशन्स, वेदर इट इज स्टेट लेवल और नेशनल लेवल, तो आपको जो जनरल प्रेजेंटेशन तैयार करना है वो इसी अप्रोच के साथ होगा. बट यू हैव टू ऑब्जर्व कि व्हाट इज द क्राइटेरिया ऑफ जजेस, व्हाट आर दे लाइकिंग एंड व्हाट दे आर नॉट लाइकिंग. And then we will come to mood. First of all, I would like to give you the demo for a legal debate. Now, difference between a normal debate and legal debate. In legal debate, you give legal case laws, articles and everything. While a normal debate, in that you continue or carry on your journey. While in normal debate, you just represent your normal opinions. So now, I'll take a topic, Uniform Civil Code, and I will utilize that topic for debate and for elocution so that you can clearly know the difference. First of all, if I have been given Uniform Civil Code for my debate and I am favoring it, so how will I present? India is the cradle of human race, the birthplace of human speech, the mother of history, the grandmother of legend and the great grandmother of tradition. A very pleasing afternoon to all of you, honorable judges, highly admirable chief guests, respected professors and all my dear friends. It gives me, Palak Gupta, immense pleasure to be here this noon, standing before you to present my topic in the favor of motion which has been opposed by my oppositions, that whether Uniform Civil Code, that is Article 44 of the Constitution, should be made a fundamental right or not. Ha! My worthy opponents, I think they have not gone through the statement of the Honorable Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, who said that it is a matter of great regret that Uniform Civil Code has merely become a dead letter in the Constitution of India. Now, if I have to present the same topic in elocution, I will not criticize my opposite parties or I will not criticize my opposition, and I will present it in a very subtle way, in a very neutral way. That means the same points which you are presenting with the emphasis, where you are regretting or where you are putting up an emotion along with your opinion. Now your opinion has to be neutral. So the same thing during an elocution. India is the cradle of human race, the birthplace of human speech, the mother of history, the grandmother of legend and the great grandmother of tradition. A very pleasing afternoon to all of you, honorable judges, highly admirable chief guests, respected professors and all my dear friends. It gives me immense pleasure to be here this noon, standing before you to present my opinion on the topic Uniform Civil Code, whether it should be made a fundamental right or not. I remember the statement of Justice, Honorable Justice Mr. D.Y. Chandrachud, that it is a matter of great regret that Uniform Civil Code has become a dead letter in our constitution. Uniform Civil Code in Goa. Goa is the first state which has implemented Uniform Civil Code following the pattern from the Portugal Civil Code of 1961. We are proud of that first state. According to AIPLB, Uniform Civil Code should not be made a fundamental right because this will be violative of Article 25 to 28 of our Indian Constitution, that is the freedom of religious practices. But what about Article 15 and Article 14 of the Indian Constitution? If I have to emphasize the same point in a legal debate, my worthy opponent, they are stating that Article 25 to 28 will be violative if Uniform Civil Code is implemented as a fundamental right. Alas, then what about the right to equality and right against discrimination that has been guaranteed under Article 14 and 15 of our Indian Constitution? We all have been made proud, and we should take the example of Goa, which has adopted and implemented Uniform Civil Code, and So, this is the way you present an elocution or a debate, and then after presenting your content, you end it in a very nice manner with any quotation or with anything, and then you will greet the audience, thank you and have a cheerful day, or thank you and have a nice day. Okay, so now coming to the moot court. Now there are two patterns in which a moot court is conducted. As you know, in a moot court there is a team. The team either may be of 3 people or it may be of 2 people. In majority of moot courts, the team is always of 3 people, 1 researcher and 2 mooters. Now what happens when you reach on the spot, you are given a team code, and it will be decided on the spot that whether you will be on the side of appellants or defendants. So this means that you are supposed to prepare both the sides for a particular moot problem, that is appealing side and the defendant side. Similarly, sometimes there are 2 mooters in a moot court, that is there is no researcher. And in some moot courts, they can give you sides like that you are 2 people, one presents the appellant and the other one from the same team presents the defendant. But this is a very rare practice. Majorly, moot courts are always conducted in a team manner. Okay, there are marks for your memorial, there are marks for your presentation, there are marks for your courtroom ethics, that how do you give respect to the bench. There are marks for your formals that you are wearing, whether you are abiding the Advocates Act or not, and then there are marks for the questions that you answer. Now I have memorial from one of my moots, so I will give you a glimpse that how we start with the moot court. So this is the appellant side. First of all, from your respective positions, you will ask the honorable jury that may it please this honorable court. Now, during a moot court, one thing which we should carefully remember is that we have to be arguing, but in a very humble manner, because we are not arguing with the opposite party, but we are actually arguing and we are presenting before the honorable judges. So, first of all, we seek permission. May it please this honorable court, I am counsel for this case of appellants in the matter Samath and others versus Gargi and others, where me, Counsel Palak Gupta, would like to present the party of appellants, that is Samath and others. Your Lordship, the appellants have invoked the jurisdiction of this honorable court under Article 136 of Indian Constitution, where this honorable court has very well the jurisdiction and the right to entertain and dispose of the present appeal. With the due permission of this honorable court, may I address the bench as Your Lordship? Much obliged. So after every permission, what you get from the bench, you have to say much obliged. May it please this honorable court. Your Lordship, with your due permission, may I begin with the statement of facts? Much obliged. Your Lordship, the father of appellants and defendants, that is Sri Lakshman Patil, he died on 18 February 1988 and he left behind the suit properties which he inherited from his ancestors. Your Lordship, respondent, who is the daughter of deceased Lakshman Patil, she filed a suit in 1992 before Honorable Civil Judge for the partition and the separate possession. Your Lordship, she filed the suit for 1/7 possession of the suit properties in Schedule A to G. Your Lordship, during the pendency of proceedings in 2005, the Belgium Succession Act 1956 came, and this 1956 Act in 2005 was amended. The amended Section 6, which was added to it during the pendency of the litigation. Respondent, she claimed the benefit of the amended Section 6. Your Lordship, the Civil Judge Belgium, he partly decreed the suit in favor of respondent plaintiff to the extent that she was given 1/28 share in certain suit properties on the basis of notional partition, Your Lordship, on the death of father. And in some of the items, she was given 1/7 share. Now, Your Lordship, the respondent plaintiff, she has appealed to this honorable, she appealed to the Honorable High Court of Belgium under Section 96 of Code of Civil Procedure, and she claimed that she became a co-partner under the amended Act, and hence she is entitled to inherit the property equally to that of appellants. Your Lordship, the Honorable High Court, without observing the merits of the case and not in the consonance of the said Act, decreed the matter in the favor of respondent. Your Lordship, hence, agreed from the decision of the Honorable High Court of Belgium and against the impugned order, appellants have approached this Honorable Supreme Court of Belgium under Article 136 of the Constitution against the impugned judgment. Your Lordship, with your due permission, may I move to the statement of issues? Much obliged. Your Lordship, Council has divided the issues in 7 parts, where in the first 4 issues will be dealt by me and the rest of the 3 issues along with the prayer will be dealt by my co-counsel. Your Lordship, the first issue is whether respondent plaintiff is considered to be a co-partner in the suit properties. Your Lordship, the issue number 2 is that whether the judgment of the Honorable High Court of Belgium is bad in law. Your Lordship, the issue number 3 is whether this appeal, if allowed, will prejudice any fundamental rights of the respondent or plaintiff. And Your Lordship, the issue number 4 is which statute governs the present case of appellant and respondent. Your Lordship, the other 3 issues 5, 6 and 7 will be dealt and will be brought into light before this Honorable Court by my co-counsel. Your Lordship, with the due permission of this Honorable Court, may I move to the arguments and my contentions? Much obliged. Your Lordship, the first issue before this Honorable Court is that whether the respondent plaintiff is considered to be a co-partner in the suit properties. Your Lordship, it is humbly submitted before this Honorable Court that according to Hindu law, a person who shares equally with others the inheritance of an undivided estate or in the rights, its equitable interests, is a co-partner. Your Lordship, here I would like to bring into light and emphasize upon the legal maxim equitex est quasi equities, that is, 2 people having heritage to equal rights are equally co-partners as equity. Your Lordship, as it has been held by this Honorable Court in Fulvati versus Prakash, we hold that the rights under amendment are applicable to living daughters of living co-partners as on 9th September 2005, irrespective of the fact when such daughters are born. Hence, Your Lordship, in this landmark judgment, Fulvati versus Prakash, this Honorable Court has very well clarified the fact that the amendment of Section 6 of the Succession Act, it applies to only those daughters whose fathers are alive in 2005. Your Lordship, as we all know that in the present case, the father died in 1956. Hence, the amended Section 6 will not apply to the respondent. Therefore, the particular prima facie emphasis on the term living daughters of living co-partners by this honorable court completely overrules the case of respondent, and hence she cannot be considered as a co-partner in the suit property as equivalent to appellants. Your Lordship, if you are satisfied with my contention, may I move to the next issue? Much obliged. Your Lordship, the second issue before this honorable court is whether the judgment of Honorable High Court of Belgium is bad in law. Your Lordship, counsel here would like to bring into light the doctrine of stare decisis and the doctrine of ratio decidendi. Your Lordship, the landmark judgment of Fulvati versus Prakash that has been recently given by this honorable court. Hence, Your Lordship, the legal position that emerges in that is prior to the passing of Hindu Succession Act. But the current position is the current position in accordance with the section 6 of the Succession Act will not apply to the respondent because she will be covered under the prior position in accordance with the judgment. Hence, the Honorable High Court has erred in law, and the verdict of the Honorable High Court is against the application of doctrine of law, that is stare decisis and ratio decidendi. Hence, this judgment is not in consonance with the law. Your Lordship, if you are satisfied with my contention, may I move to my next contention? Much obliged, Your Lordship. So this way we have to seek permission and we have to argue each and every contentions, and whenever we are asked a question, we have to say indeed it's a very pertinent question, Your Lordship. We have to answer the question humbly, and then we have to say much obliged, and we have to satisfy them. After all the contentions, we have to move to the prayer, and prayer it forms a very important part of the moot court. Your Lordship, if you are satisfied by all the contentions, may I move to the prayer? Much obliged, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, in the light of issues raised, arguments advanced and authorities cited, the advocate for appellant humbly prays before this honorable court to adjudge, hold and declare the order of Honorable High Court to be set aside. The appeal may be allowed and pass any such order which honorable court deems fit in the interest of equity, justice and good conscience. Much obliged, Your Lordship. At the end of the moot, either you may be given a rebuttal round where you have to rebut, during the moot court you have to note down the points of your opponents. Suppose if you are respondent, then you have already noted the points. During your arguments you can counter those points, but the better is that you counter them during the rebuttal. So you are given 2 minutes or 3 minutes of a rebuttal round wherein you are asked to counter on the spot your opponent. Researcher plays a very important role. There are best researcher, best mooter prizes. So researcher also equally works with the mooters, and his duty is to note down the important points during the ongoing moot and then the rebuttal round. And researcher can never speak. He can only speak in between if the judge questions him or asks him to speak up or to clarify the points. During the moot, you can definitely take help from researcher. You can refer the books, you can refer your moots, but you have to maintain the eye contact with the judges as well. So being a proud student of this honorable college, I can proudly say that getting opportunities for your moot courts, for elocution and debate is a very big thing, because that is the only skill that will develop drafting skills, the most important skills for a budding lawyer, as well as the research skill and the court ethics, so that you can argue before the court well. I would like to share many of my experiences where these moots, elocutions and the guidance of our professors has actually helped me in my practical life. The day when I was arguing before D.Y. Chandrachud and so many Supreme Court judges, I know that their personality, it makes you feel nervous for once, but due to the guidance of your professors and the grooming of the advocate under which you are working, you can rock it. So moot courts, they are very helpful and they will definitely give you the appropriate direction. All the best, guys. Thank you.